meeting. Okay. Sige, let's start. So we have here the concept paper. This will be our format. I'll be sending you a copy of this also. So ito yung gagawin ninyo. Siyempre, you have the name of the proponent. Again, this should be individual. And you will be making your own research title. Class, when you're going to choose a topic, pinaka-importante talaga, it's medtech related. Okay? Medtech related. Walang mapupunta sa psychology or sa pharma. Basta medtech related siya. You make your own title. It's okay if it is not really that perfect, no? Since even though this is not your first time doing your research, mahirap pa rin naman mag-formulate ng title. So as we go on with our lesson, with our submissions, we'll be refining your title. Okay? And then we have here the problematic situation. Now, research is done for us to identify a certain problem in our society, in our community, or our chosen field, and we are trying to address that. So we are trying to look for a solution. That's what we are going to do here. Number one, you identify the problematic situation. You present it here. Okay, in this part, what certain problem you want to address. And then we have here the target respondents. If your research involved human respondents or human participants, like you're going to conduct survey, so syempre you have the respondents there, or you're going to interview people, so you have the interview participants. If experimental naman, no need for target respondents, especially if you will be dealing with blood or you will be dealing with animals in the laboratory. No need for the target respondents. These are only for researches which require human participation. So if you have target respondents, you have to identify them. Okay? So sa target respondents class example, you want to conduct a survey sa residents of General Santos City. So you just place there residents of General Santos City. And then area of coverage or research local. Where are you going to conduct your study? So research local, General Santos City. Ganun lang. Di naman siya masyadong mahirap. Ang next one will be the objectives of the study. So sa first part, you identified the problematic situation. Ang next part, you will be stating here what really is your goal, what is your objective or your aim in this kind of study. Anong gusto mong makuha at the end of your paper? You place it here under the objectives of the study. Okay? Now, next, we have the background of the study. I'll show you an example later para hindi naman masyadong yung wala talaga kayong alam kung saan kayo mag-start. Okay? So sa background of the study class, research class actually starts with research itself. So when you are going to look for a problematic situation, you can actually do research. You can read a lot of references. What are the problems now in our society that is medtech related? Or what are the problems your field itself encounter nowadays at recent time. So yan yung ilalagay nyo sa background of the study. Yung na-research ninyo na anong problem yung nag-e-exist? Bakit kaya siya nag-e-exist? Bakit? Anong reason? Bakit merong ganitong problem? And ano na ba yung nagawa ng ibang scientists, ng ibang example, medtech professionals to address this certain problem? And ano yung pinopropose mo? Ano yung background ng study mo? Ano yung background? Bakit mo napili itong study na ito? And bakit ganito yung pinopropose mo na solution? Okay? And then next, we have the research questions. The research questions are specific questions that you need to answer through your research. Okay, so at the end of your research, you should be able to answer these specific questions galing doon sa nag-gather mo na data. Okay? Excuse lang, okay, may nanawag. Mandagan yung, wait lang. Manawag siya. Okay, asa na ta? Research questions. Next, we have the methods. Sa methods class, you have the option whether to do this in paragraph form or just make a schematic diagram. Methods means methodology. So that is the step-by-step procedure that you are going to undertake para ma-complete ang research ninyo. So as in starting from the top. Starting from, for example, you're going to do a survey. So, syempre, what are the things that you need to do? You have to prepare your questionnaire, have it validated by experts, and then, syempre, distribution of the questionnaire to the target respondents, collecting it again, and then data analysis. Ganun lang. Pag survey. Pero kung experimental yung napili nyo na research, you really have to present there the step-by-step na procedure sa experiment. Okay? And then you have here the work plan. The work plan is a Gantt chart. So you can do this per week or per month, depende sa target ninyo. Gantt chart class, you will list down all the activities. Example, ano ngayon? End of August. Ano yung target natin na matatapos by the end of August? We need to finish the concept paper. And then next week, example, first week of September, our goal is to finally select kung ano yung research topic na ipopursue ng grupo. And then all the other things follow. So that is just the time frame of the research. Pwedeng masunod, pwede ding hindi masunod as long as we have like the time frame at the start para meron tayong guide. Mas mabuti kung masunod natin. But please do not forget na our goal only for the first semester until December is just to finish your proposal paper. Kung gagawa kayo ng Gantt chart, wala akong makikita na December pa lang nag-data gathering na. Kasi again, data gathering will take place next semester. Okay? Now, for the budget, isa-isahin nyo itong budget neto ha. As in, i-identify nyo lahat ng bagay na kailangan ng money. Like the bond paper that you need during printing that is still included, the printing itself, para meron kayong picture kung gaano kalaking money ang need ninyo to finish the study. So, ma-assess na natin from the start kung kaya ba ng grupo or hindi. Kami magpili equally. Yeah, since you are doing your own concept paper, you can choose whether you are going to make a qualitative research or a quantitative research. Okay? What else? Do you have questions pa? Ito lang, ganito lang yung concept paper. Hindi naman siya gaano mahaba. Wala? Work plan. Work plan is a Gantt chart. Sige, I'll show you an example pa. Mahirap mag-imagine, no? Wait lang ha. Open ko yung example neto. Sana yung hindi ko makita. Okay. Medlog research. Oh, where is it? Makita. MLS314. Okay. So I'll just present to you yung last year na example sa concept paper. May question pa rin. Yeah, I'll give you a copy para you will be guided. So last year, they have this. They are actually all graded with their concept papers, ha? So individual output ito, pero by group ang selection. So I'll show you the concept paper of Miss Abaw last time ito na last year. Kasi ito yung sa grupo nila, yung kanyang concept paper yung napili. So ito talaga yung pinursue ng group. Ito talaga yung na hardbound, as in na complete nila na study. So, ito yung research title niya, Knowledge, Attitude, and Practice Towards PPE-Related Waste Disposal amid COVID-19 in General Santos City. Okay, again, yan yung kanyang research title. So, dito, present niya yung problematic situation. So, the problematic situation is during COVID-19, we are required to wear PPEs. And her problem is she wanted to know whether the residents in General Santos City are like knowledgeable or do they practice proper disposal of these PPEs. So again, the target respondents are the residents of Gensan. Siyempre, the research local is General Santos City. So I'm not saying that you will be conducting a survey of all the residents of Gensan. How we will do sampling. Okay, but anyway, we will just call that residents of General Santos City. And then we have here the objectives of the study. So we have here the problematic situation. Ang objective dito siya na part. So at the end of the research, what are you trying to accomplish? You write it here. And yung objectives ng study. And then we have the background. So sa lahat ng sections of our concept paper, ito yung pinakamahaba. And this requires proper citation. Since, remember, I told you a while ago that the background of the study is a product of your own research. So ano yung na-research mo about your topic? So kagaya sa kanya, nag-research siya about COVID-19, nag-research siya ano yung mga PPEs na ginagamit sa kasagsagan ng COVID-19. Okay? And ano yung problema? And nilagay din niya dito, ano yung mangyayari pag hindi nag-practice ng proper waste disposal ang mga residents. So, yan yung background of the study. Ito yung pinakamahaba. Hindi naman masyadong mahaba, pero nevertheless, this is still the longest part ng ating concept paper. And these are the research questions. The research questions are specific questions again that you want to be answered through your study. Okay, so kagaya nito, what type of PPE comprises most of the PPE related waste? She wanted to know ano yung pinakaginagamit na PPE. And other questions. So at the end of the research, I think she was able to answer these questions. And then sa methods class, hindi lang siya nag-schematic diagram. She used in paragraph form na method. But anyway, step by step pa rin naman ito. Starting from the questionnaire, making of the questionnaire until the data analysis. And ito yung tinatanong ninyo na work plan. So it's like a Gantt chart na nakalagay dito ang mga activities, and then here we have the schedule. So nakapasunod yan. Nilagyan niya lang ng color na, for example, on September 16 to 18, she would like to have a group meeting and assign the chapter 1. Okay? So hanggang first sem lang actually itong ginawa niya. Pero babaguhin natin ha, kasi sa kanilang time, they were thinking na we are going to use the chapters 1 to 5 na format. That was the old research na na format. Ngayon sa school, we will be using the IMRAD format. IMRAD stands for, wait lang, sulat ko na lang. We will be using the IMRAD format. Okay, ito yung gagamitin natin. Wala na tayong chapters 1 to 5. Sections na lang. Introduction, I is introduction, M is methodology, and then R is results, and discussion. So, 4 na lang na sections yung ating paper. Now, sa first semester, we will just accomplish 2. The introduction and the methodology. Siyempre, the data gathering will take place on the second semester. Thus, the 2 sections left, results and discussion, second semester din. Okay? Okay, questions? Walang RRL? Yeah, yun ang nawala. Kasi dati, chapter 1, background of the study, chapter 2, RRL. Ngayon, nawala si RRL. Yan yung bagong format for research. But actually, hindi talaga siya nawala. Nasama siya dyan sa introduction. The RRL is now part of the introduction. I'll show you later a sample paper also. Okay? Oo, it's a prank. Wala gyapon siya nawala. Nagyapon siya din ha. And then, ito yung budget nila. May kailang budget sa research. No, I'm not sure if nasunod ba itong 3,000 na budget for research or gumastos sila ng more than this. Hindi ko lang sure. Pero so far, when they started making the concept paper, ito lang muna yung na-identify nila na gastos for their research. The band paper, ink, incentives. I'm not sure kung 168 yun. The feeling na ko ni gamit sila more than that. Na-rin sa band paper with all the printing, pila ka copies ang inahang print. Okay? Anyway, questions about the concept paper? Baka may gusto kayong i-clarify pa. Walay. Sure na yun. So, ito ha, isa-isa kayong mag-pass nito. Ang pinaka-mahirap sa research is mag-start. Kasi hindi mo alam ano yung pag-aaralan mo. Pero I'll show you examples of research papers available na, nakandak na ng mga previous batches sa MedTech. This is starting from 2013 to 2017 only. This is not yet updated kasi bago lang na forward sa akin yung sumunod na batch. And then yung last year, hindi pa nila na hardbound yung paper nila. Next week, kaya? Kaya yung concept paper na next week. Yeah, tama yan siya, Lyra. You can ask Google and look at the studies available sa Google and you can make them as reference. But please do not copy everything. Ha? Ano ang best thesis last year? Yun, yung pinakita ko sa inyo. Yung study nila Miss Abaw na PPE-related waste disposal. Yun yung highest last year sa MedTech. If I'm not mistaken ha. Pero yun kasi yung matandaan ko. Yung the previous year pa talaga, yung sa bagong graduate, yung batch nila Mr. Kilantang, ang best research noon, they even won second place sa whole school. Okay? They won second place pero they were not awarded during the graduation. We are awarding best researcher class. Pero ang na-awardan nun, ang nag-first place kasi nun psychology department. So second itong study ng MedTech. Ito yung second last time. Let me share it sa inyo. I have a copy of all the researches sa school. Ito yung nanalo ng second place sa whole school. medical fake news and fear-mongering during the COVID-19 pandemic, the impact on the vaccine confidence among the millennials. So itong grupo na ito, ang ginawa nila, they gathered all medical fake news and fear-mongering circulating in all types of social media. And then ginawa nila yun, sinulat nila yun sa questionnaire. I'll show you their questionnaire. Sana yun. So parang ganito. This one is about the demographic profile. So ito, mean level of medical fake news and fear-mongering. So ito yung nakuha nila ng mga medical fake news from the internet, and they ask their respondents whether they believe this or not. So ito yung mga answers nila. Naka-scale yan siya. O relevant pa ang COVID sa ilahang time. Sa karon mo, dili na kayo siya relevant. So mo na ilahang kanila nakita. Tapos sa baba, mineasure nila yung level of vaccine confidence. Kasagsagan pa kasi ito class ng pagpabakuna. So ito, inask nila kung naniniwala ba sila sa fake news, and they also asked the respondents whether they are still confident of having the vaccine or not. So kinorelate nila, they get the relationship. Kung pag naniwala ba sila sa fake news, ayaw na ba nilang magpabakuna? So yun yung study nila. Ito yung title, Medical Fake News and Fear-Mongering During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Millennials yung kanilang respondents. So doon sa concept paper nito, the target respondents are the millennials in general Santa City. The research local, syempre Jensen. So yun yung nanalo. So mag-isip-isip din kayo kung ano yung gusto nyo pag-aralan sa research ninyo. And ito yung mga examples of the existing aside doon sa present ko sa inyo. So meron tayong studies about like mga food handling practices class, like the halal practices ng mga this is still medtech related since you are dealing with like food contamination, microorganisms, and so on. Yung mga sanitation practices, kasali yan siya, medtech related pa rin naman. Actually, last year, we have a group that studied about the relationship between yung HACCP guidelines sa food handling na mga practices and the presence of salmonella in food beverages na tinitinda ng mga street vendors. So, nag-survey sila sa street vendors, inask nila about yung sa mga practices kung sumusunod ba sila. Tapos they got samples of the beverages na tinitinda nila, and then they checked whether salmonella is present doon sa beverage. So, kung ako, ano mas madali, quanti or quali? I'll be biased kasi I am a quanti researcher. Okay, I am a quantitative researcher class. Most of my accomplished studies are quantitative research. Okay, what's the difference between quali and quanti? Quantitative research involves numerical data, and it involves the use of statistics as a form of data analysis tool. So, biased ako kasi quanti talaga ako. Yung mga research class ko, meron lang akong isang output na quali. Isa lang talaga yon. Nahihirapan ako sa quali. Sa quali kasi 'di ba, we don't have numerical data, meaning the data are from interviews. You will be interviewing people, and then you will be doing transcript of the interview as in verbatim, and then from there sa mga answers nila, you will form significant meanings of their words. Ikaw pa yung mag-a-analyze about ibig sabihin nila sa sagot nila. Nahihirapan ako niyan magsulat. So, madaling mag-interview, mahirap magsulat. And mas makapal yung paper ng quali kesa sa quanti. Kasi nga marami, 'di ba, kung nag-interview ka, marami silang sasabihin. Whereas kung nagkanda ka kasi ng quanti, example, descriptive lang, nagkanda ka lang ng survey, you will just be dealing with numbers. Like, isa-summarize mo na, i-add mo, kukunin mo yung mean or yung average ng kanilang mga scores na nilagay doon sa question mo. And then you will use statistics. So, hindi masyadong makapal. Yung downside ng quanti is yung kung magkakanda ka ng experimental research kasi syempre matrabaho yun siya inside the laboratory. But it's actually fulfilling. As a medtech student, it's actually fulfilling doing experiments inside the lab. But another thing is it's more likely expensive compared to descriptive and the quality research. Expensive siya kasi marami kang gagamitin na chemicals, yung mga things pa na gagamitin sa laboratory. So pwede niyo siyang pag-isipan when you're going to make the concept paper, pag-isipan yung mabuti. Ano ba forte ninyo? Are you good in writing? Then you may do writing and interviewing people, then you do qualitative research. But if not, if gusto nyo mas madaling matapos, you can do descriptive quantitative na research. If you want to have a sense of fulfillment, then you do quantitative experimental research. Okay? Anything else? Wala na? Sure. So ito yung mga examples natin aside sa mga sanitation, food handling practices, we also have studies na experimental sa school involving helminths, antibacterial activities of plant against certain bacteria like this one, Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Mga water quality assessment, we have that also. Actually, last year, we have a study involving the collection of water from vending machines. Here in Jensen, yung mga hulog-hulog piso na vending machines, they collected samples and then they tested for the presence of, I think that was coliform and meron tayong ibang bacteria. So, pwede din yun. Merong study na ganyan last year. And then what else aside from that? Stains. Meron tayong a lot of studies involving the discovery of alternative staining reagents. So last na batch, itong 4th year ninyo, there was one study there using glutarnate as an alternative for gemsa stain. Ano yun? Gemsa stain. Okay? Pwede din. Ito nga, meron nga ditong stain. Asan na yan? Asan na yan? May nakita akong staining kanina dito. Ito. Effectiveness of turmeric, curcuma longa, rhizomes extract as counterstain for hematoxylin in muscle fibers. So, merong mga ganitong study. These are experimental studies. You can do this. And we have here lived experiences of medtechs in handling persons with tuberculosis. Pag ang title class, lived experiences, phenomenological study, these are examples of qualitative research. Okay? Kasi when you are asking about experience, we cannot quantify it. Hindi mo maka-quantify ang experience. So mahuhulog yan siya na qualitative na study. And you will just be asking them, your participants, kung ano ba yung experience nila when they work with COVID-19, for example. And i-extract natin yung mga significant experiences nila. And from there, you write your paper. Okay? Yung mga phenomenological and mga lived experiences. Yan yung examples ng quality. Yung iba, paulit-ulit lang naman. I mean, hindi paulit-ulit na plant, pero paulit-ulit na activities like antibacterial, anthelmintic na property, yung mga helminths. Merong mga ganyan. And then merong marami tayong studies na CAP. When you say CAP, yan yung knowledge, attitude, practices of your respondents over a phenomenon or a situation. So kagaya ng example kanina, PPE related, waste disposal. Ito naman, knowledge and attitude lang. Knowledge and attitude towards management of glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase deficiency among mothers sa Jensen. Okay, so yan yung mga examples. Okay? Do you have questions? Or do you want to ask something? Wala. Sure na gyud. Sure na gyud. Nag-loading pa ni sila. Oh, yeah. Ano na siya, tama na siya, nag-loading. Wala pa na nag-sync na mag-thesis na date ko. Yeah, wala ta kabalog asat na magsugod. Okay ra na. Masabtan ra na siya. Pero you really need to do it. Tagayin ninyo siya time, class, na makapag-isip-isip kayo what you are going to do. Okay. Ay, pabalik sa concept paper. Kung nang gi-X ang concept paper. Wait lang. Open natin siya ulit. Alin doon? Lahat. Lahat. Ito. Alin dito, you want to, to clarify. Alin dyan. I'll teach you how to make a title also later. Hanggang 11:30 pa naman yung class natin. 2 hours talaga ito straight. I-picture mo. Okay. Anyway, I'll give you a copy of this para guided kayo. Let's make our lives easier sa research para dili mo matagang mag-study. I'll be your lecture teacher and I will also be your panel during the proposal defense. So kasama ako sa panelist class ha. Pero I think na-teacher niyo naman ako. Hindi naman ako nang gigisa ng dili man tamulutoon. Chill lang ako during the defense. I'll just ask questions that are actually found in your paper. I'll just want to test whether each member of the group knows your research. Malalaman kasi talaga namin kung sino yung walang naitulong sa research. Kasi pag tanungin mo, wala siyang alam. Okay? And who are the other panels? Si Dean is one of your panelists. Dean Grace. Dean Joy. Grace Joy. Kasali talaga siya sa panel ever since. And si Ma'am Lugto. Are you familiar with her? Kilala niyo siya, si Ma'am Lugto. Yung department head sa psychology. Kasali siya. Lingaw ang college research. Lingaw. Lingaw man, pero na yung mga mag-friendship over sa research mo. Ayaw pag-away ha. Ayaw pag-away when you're going to conduct your research. Chill lang tanin nyo. Kasi may experience talaga, may mga nagpo-friendship over kasi yung isa hindi tumutulong, hindi nako-contact. Wala lang. Chill lang kayo. Tapos suko na kayo ang uban nga groupmates kay they are very stressed. Alam mo, ginabuhat kasi syempre you still have other subjects. Tapos ang isa wala gitabang. Muna na yung mga nag-friendship over. Pero chill lang ta. Kung wala siya gitabang, just tell us kay pwede man na to siya i-remove sa group and she will just be going solo. Diba? Yun yung sinabi ko kanina. Magsa-solo na lang siya. Mag-friendship over mo. So, bago pa lang gani nagsugod. Hindi sa pag-friendship over. Last year, I think may mga conflicts. Pero I think naayos din naman nila. Meron din the other year na parang tatanggalin na talaga siya sa grupo and magsosolo na lang talaga siya. Tapos binigyan ata siya ng chance. Pero parang, if I can remember it correctly, tinanggal talaga nila yung name niya sa hardbound. Kasi hindi talaga nagpapakita yung isang student. Repeat. Ganon, repeat. Pero 'di ba, pag hindi kayo nakapasa sa research, you cannot go on sa inyong internship. So, let's make the most out of this. I mean, let's finish this para on time din kayo sa internship niyo. Hapit na ba mo mag-internship? Naka-experience ka. Okay. So, as much as possible, you help. You offer help sa mga groupmates ninyo. Hindi pwede na leader lang yung nagtatrabaho. Luisad kayo mga leader, karon pa lang ganing murag di na sila mudawat sa ilahang pagka leader. Muhilak na lang sila. Tapos dili ninyo sila tabangan. Tabangin ninyo sila, ha? Ay, so yung mga leaders, you tell me kung kinsay wala nagatabang mo. Okay, anything else? Wala na? Sure? Sige. Let's have this one. Wala pa maninood, no? Maninood ta. I'll just present this one para this will help you also in your concept paper. Again, this will also help you in your concept paper. So let's talk about the basics of research. Ito yung stages na ina-undergo natin until the completion of the research. So we are now under the selecting the problem and at the same time formulating the research title. Dito muna tayo. Pag meron na tayo nito, problem and the research title, we'll also discuss the research design and method to be used. And then if you're going to do a survey research, we will also talk about constructing and at the same time validating your questionnaire. And then dito na part data gathering procedure na ito, next year pa ito kasi sa January pa ito magsa-start. Like doing the sampling technique, administering the questionnaire to the respondents, and then collecting it, analyzing and interpreting the data. Next year pa yan lahat. Making conclusions and recommendations, and the completion of the thesis itself. Making sure that the correct format is being followed. Next year yan gagawin. So dito muna tayo class, formulating the research title. How do you make your own research title? Number 1, it should not be long and should not be more than 20 words. Actually, the ideal is not more than 15 words. So, hindi dapat masyadong mahaba ang title ninyo. But, yung counting dyan ay hindi included yung mga function words. What are the examples of the words that are not counted? Yung a, an, the, with, of. Yan, hindi yan natin siya sinasali sa counting. Okay, so pwede lang yung sila mag-exist dyan. Let us just count the major words. As long as they are not more than 20 words, then that is still accepted. Okay, and then number 2, your research title should include the variables. What are these variables? Independent and dependent variables. Okay, again, independent and dependent variables. I will teach you that later. Later na lang pag nandun na tayo sa example ng title. And it should give insight virtually on what the research is all about. When the readers look at your title, read your title, automatic, they have the picture of what your research is all about. So the title should be able to summarize everything. And then aside from that, your title should not include the following: study, analysis, or an investigation. Kasi lahat ng research ay studies din, analysis, and also an investigation. So no need to place those words in your title. And then it is not necessary to include the date of the conduct of research and at the same time the place. So may mga titles na merong place pero it is not actually necessary. Kasi 'di ba, you have done your research in your high school days and merong section doon na tinatawag na scope and delimitation. We can place the date and the research local there kung saan tayong magkakandak sa scope and delimitation. So ito yung example ng ideal research title. Example, the predictive efficacy of academic preparation of radiologic technologists, pwede nating palitan, medical technologists on the licensure board exam. So number 1, let's try to count how many words ito. We have 1, 2, 3. Sabi ko, do not include the function words. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So this title is just made up of 9 words, excluding the function words. So ito yung ideal title. Hindi mahaba. Number 2, let's try to find out the independent and the dependent variables. Nung high school kayo, nag-identify kayo nito, di ba? IV and DV. How do we identify that? Let's make our lives simple. When you say independent variables, these are the predictor variables. Ito yung kinokontrol natin or minamanipulate in the study. Okay? And then yung dependent variables naman are the outcome variables. Now, if we are going to manipulate this, control natin siya, magre-result siya dito. Again, that is the dependent variable. So, kagaya sa title class, ano yung magpe-predict ng outcome? The outcome, remember, is the licensure board exam. Makakapasa ba sila or hindi? Hindi. Ano yung magpe-predict dyan? Academic preparation. Therefore, in the title, the independent variable is the academic preparation and the outcome variable or the dependent variable is the licensure board exam. Okay? So, makikita dapat yan siya sa title. Pero sa body ng paper ninyo, nakikita ito sa conceptual framework. Okay? Nakikita yan siya sa conceptual framework. Nilalagay natin yan siya sa box with an arrow and then another box. So, this is the IV and then the DV. So, kaya siya may arrow dyan plus kasi it's pointing there. Meaning, pag meron tayong ginawa dito or ano yung nangyari dito, magre-result siya dito sa outcome, sa dependent variable. So, kung ano yung academic performance ng mga student, not performance, preparation pala. Ano yung academic preparation ng student, magre-result siya dito sa result ng licensure board exam. So, that's how you identify the independent and the dependent variable. Okay? So, this one is an ideal title. Pagbasahin mo siya, alam mo na agad ang topic ng study. Wala din siyang words na investigation, analysis, or study. And at the same time, hindi na nilagay yung date and the research local. Kasi nilalagay yun siya sa scope and delimitation. Now, if I'm going to ask you, well, let's go back doon sa study na nanalo last time sa research forum dito. Medical fake news and fear-mongering during the COVID-19 pandemic, the impact on the vaccine confidence among the millennials. We're going to count the number of words here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So a total of 11 words lang tayo. This is still ideal. Now, how about the independent and the dependent variables? Can you identify them? Sige daw, kayo daw mag-identify. Sa title nila, let me delete the writings. Sa title nila, what do you think are the or is the independent variable and ano yung dependent variable? Let's start with the IV. What's the IV? Ano yung magpa-predict ng result dyan? Ng outcome? Ano? Ano yung magpa-predict? Okay, very good. That's the medical fake news and let's include the fear mongering. Yan yung mapipredict. Ano mapipredict niya? Vaccine confidence. So again, this one is an ideal title. Check ang independent variable. Yan yung predictor variable ha. Kung maniniwala ba sila sa medical fake news and mga fear mongering sa social media. And ano yung magre-result? Ano yung outcome? Vaccine confidence nila. Kung magpapabakuna pa ba sila or hindi. Okay? So that's how you identify the independent variables and the dependent variables. I hope this time hindi na siya ma-confuse. Kung nakalimutan na yung lesson ninyo sa high school about this, I hope this time na-refresh na what is ID, and what is DV. Okay? Questions? Do you want to clarify something about the ID and the DV para okay din ang title na magagawa ninyo? Sa research class kaya pinapasubmit next meeting yung concept paper kasi may hinahabol din tayong proposal defense. Marami kasing ginagawa sa research talaga. Wala. Sure. So, when you're going to write your research title class, pero doon yun sa sa paper talaga, yung present ko sa inyo draft kasi yon. Yung sa hardbound talaga, if your title is more than one line, pag tinype nyo siya, you have to make an inverted pyramid. So, ipapattern nyo siya. Meron tayong format. So, naka-bold. So, example, mahaba ang title ninyo, hindi kakasya sa isang line. So, putulin nyo na lang siya na maging parang inverted pyramid yung kanyang format. And it should be bold. Okay? Please take note of that. Now, research documentation. We have two general types of research documentation. The first one, which is used in the institution. We are following the APA format. So APA means American Psychological Association. And then the other one is MLA. We don't use this in school. The MLA means Modern Language Association. So I'll be teaching you the APA format also. Okay? Next, now since research starts with research, I hope you can make your own working bibliography. This is still working bibliography kasi hindi pa finish ang study ninyo. So, di ba, if you read the researches in the library or yung mga nasa online, at the last part, you will see the list of references. So since you are still doing your research, let's just make a working bibliography so that you will have a detailed list of all the references na nabasa nyo na or babasahin nyo pa para hindi mawala. Okay? And you will have the record of all the necessary information na kailangan ninyo sa research ninyo. So aside from the idea that you are going to get as a part of your references, you need to take note of the following also as a content of your working bibliography. You need to take note of the author or the authors pag marami, the title of the article, the dates. We have two dates that you need to take note in research. Number one is the date of publication of that article, and then number two, the date of retrieval. When did you get that article? Kung binasa niyo siya ngayon, kinuha niyo siya, in-extract niyo siya ngayon, then that will be the date of the retrieval. Okay? And then the page numbers, which is necessary for printed references, like the books or like magazines. And then for online references, please take note, syempre, of the URLs. Okay? And then another thing that you need to know for research is parenthetical citations. Class sa research, syempre bawal ang plagiarism. Therefore, we are going to give credit where credit is due. We will be using parenthetical citations aside from the reference list at the end part of your paper. So what is this parenthetical citation? It's a citation enclosed using a parenthesis, no, enclosed by parenthesis, and nakikita siya sa text ng research paper. Sa body ng research paper, nakikita ang parenthetical citation. So, anong example nito? Let me go back to our sample research. Sana nga yun? Ito. Kung titingnan natin, wait ha, sa introduction na part. Kung titingnan natin yung paper nila, So we have here samples of parenthetical citation. Ito yung tinatawag class. Ito din, parenthetical citation din yan siya. Okay? Ito, parenthetical citation din. So since these things na sinulat nila sa introduction are not their own idea, they just get this from other people sa mga na-publish din online or printed materials. Then though nag-paraphrase tayo sa research class, we really still need to cite kung kaninong idea ito. Okay? So ito yung tinatawag na parenthetical citation that is different from the reference na makikita sa end part. Wait lang ha, kay nasa end. And ito. So, different siya from the references. Nasira lang yung format nito. Pero dapat next page pa ito. So again, ito yung references natin list. We are using API format for this. Okay? However, lahat ng nasa parenthetical citation should be included in the reference list. Okay? So, ano yung dapat makita sa parenthetical citation? Last name ng author and the year of the publication. So, saan siya makikita? Kapag parenthetical citation, makikita siya at the end of the sentence, but between the last word and the period. So, nasa gitna ha, hindi after the period. So, examples of parenthetical citation. For example, may idea kang kinuha, pinaraphrase mo. After paraphrasing, lalagyan mo ngayon at the end ng parenthetical citation. So, example, this one. So again, at the end of the sentence, between the last word and the period. And ano yung kailangan? Surname, last name ni author. Kung maraming author, then example ito, dalawa, Pollitt and Beck, comma, and the year of publication. So yan lang yung kailangan for parenthetical citation. Surname lang ha, walang initial. Now, how about kung ang author is cited in the text? Kanina no sa work nila, Mr. Samanyon, meron doong tinatawag na in-text citation. What do you mean by in-text citation? Yung ang apelyido ng author, sinali mo doon sa text. Example, Pollitt says that COVID-19, ganon. Kaya, ito, Pollitt asserted that nursing research is expected to generate knowledge. So, sinali yung apelyido ni author sa sentence talaga. Magsa-cite pa rin tayo, we call this in-text citation, pero ang ilalagay inside the open and close parenthesis is yung date of publication na lang. Saan mo siya ilalagay? Sa tabi ng surname ni author. Okay? So that's how you do the parenthetical citation when the author is already cited in the text. Now, citing a quotation without the author's name in the text. Ito yung parehas na ito ng sample sa first one na you will be having the paraphrased idea here and then the surname inside the open and close parenthesis, comma, and the year of publication. For printed materials, you may add the page number. Okay, this is true for printed materials only. Now, citing 2 or more authors. Take note class, pag 2 or 3 authors, you really have to name them all in the parenthetical citation. So kung 2 or 3, lalagay mo lahat ng apelyido nila. Parehas kanina, Pollitt and Beck 2004. Kung 3, pwede mo pa siya lagyan ng isang surname dyan. Pero take note, when you have 4 or more authors, that's the time we use et al. Okay? We use et al. Et al means and others. And kaninong apelyido na lang yung magre-reflect? Apelyido ng principal author. Yung major author talaga. Pinakamaraming ambag sa paper. Apelyido niya na lang ang isusulat. So example, gamitin ko apelyido ko, Gabilagon et al. Kung marami kami, 4 or more. Sample, I made a research this year, 2020. 22. So again, kailan gagamitin si et al? If we have 4 or more authors. Pero hanggang 3, you have to name them. Example of an in-text citation. Kung example, the name of the author is already cited in the text, parehas lang naman siya na only the year of the publication is written inside the open and closed parentheses beside the name of the author. But kung marami sila, 4 or more, ganun pa rin. Lagyan mo na lang ng et al. Okay? And others. And how about citing authors with the same surnames? You have 2 authors, tapos magkapatid sila. Pareha sila ng surname. Anong gagawin natin? That's the time we use the initials. Okay? Dagdagan nyo lang ng initials sa tabi ng surname. Walang magbabago. May nadagdag lang na initial. Now, how about this? Kasi ito yung mostly problem ng mga estudyante. Ma'am, walay author. Sige, walay author yung reference namin. So, what are we going to do with the references na walang author? Ganito. Example, ito yung idea coming from, example, book. Walang author ang book. So, ang ilalagay na lang natin, itong naka-underline, this is the title of the book, the name of the book itself. Comma, open and close, quotation mark. Ang ilalagay sa quotation mark is ang title ng article. Okay, let me write it sa screen. This is the title of the book here na naka-underline. And ito yung title ng mismong article. Okay, if it is an online based reference, pwede siyang title of the website. Okay, and title pa rin ito ng article. If ever lang, walang author available for that certain reference material. Okay? You ask questions if you want to clarify something, ha? And then citing the corporate author. So marami tayo, especially websites, na website siya ng mga organization, tapos hindi talaga naka-indicate ang author. Ang gagawin nyo sa parenthetical citation, you use the name of the organization. Example, you are studying COVID-19 and you get your reference sa website ni DOH, Department of Health. So yun yung ilalagay nyo. Walang authors na nakalagay doon. So ilagay nyo DOH 2022. Okay? So again, you use the name of the organization. If it is coming from a corporate na website or printed material. So another example, galing ito sa student handbook ng Jensen Doctors. So if you look at the student handbook, walang author doon, pero it is coming from doctor. So you just use GSDMSFI, the year of the publication. Siyempre, that is not 2003 kasi latest yung ating student handbook. Okay? And then citing secondary sources. Class, there are times na magbabasa kayo ng research. So, syempre, ito yung current research na binabasa ninyo. Syempre, meron siyang author. But this author, class, also cites another author. So, hindi din kanyang idea. Hindi sa kanya. Nag-cite din siya ng another author here. Example, 2010. Ayan. Now, gusto mong gamitin ang idea na to. Pero, ang currently pinitingnan mong na study sa kanya. Mahuhulog ito, class, na secondary source. So, anong gagawin in the parenthetical citation? You have to give all the information coming from the current research na binabasa mo and the original author of that idea. So, ganito yung mangyayari. Dito yung text, yung paragraph, and then Seidenberg and McClelland study, open parenthesis, 1989. This is, class, the original author as cited, meaning ito yung currently na binabasa mo. Okay, mahuhulog siya na secondary source. So I hope that is clear. Kasi when you're going to write, the background of the study in the concept paper, you will be using parenthetical citation. Kasi the background of the study are not your own idea. I-research mo yon. So gamitin nyo na itong parenthetical citation na format. You have questions? Wala? Sige. Para maaga tayo matapos, let's move on. Anyway, balik tayo. After formulating the research title, selecting the problem, we're going to conceptualize the research design and the method to be utilized. So, anong ibig sabihin ng research design? Si research design class is the overall pattern or our overall plan sa research. Kung anong journey, anong daan yung tatahakin natin sa research. That will be the research design. Starting from the selecting the problem, kung paano mo i-gather yung data mo, kasali yan siya dyan sa overall plan. That's the research design. This will actually help us to determine anong method yung gagamitin natin kung ganitong design yung gagawin. So pag sinabing research method, ito talaga yung research procedure in the data gathering. So if you're doing an experimental research, so syempre the research method is the experimental procedure itself. Okay, kung mag-staining ba kayo, the step-by-step na procedure in staining. Kung ano naman, research na survey, syempre starting from making the questionnaire until the end part. Kung ano naman, qualitative research, mag-interview kayo. So, syempre, the research method is through interview. Ano ba yung dapat gawin pag nag-interview? Mauuna yung paggawa ng interview guide. Tapos, mag-a-ask pa kayo ng permission sa mga participants nyo kung okay ba sa kanilang interviewin nyo sila. And then, at the same time, mag-interview na kayo. Pwedeng individual or in-depth interview. Pwede din namang focus group discussion if you want to have the interview by group. So, depende doon sa design ninyo yung method na gagamitin. So, we have two broad categories of our research methods. Ito yung tanong kanina, ni sino yung nagtanong, nakalimutan ko. But, ito yung tanong, quali ba or quanti yung mas madali? Actually, may third pa na category dyan. We call that mixed method. So from the name itself, mixed method, we are going to do both. In one research, gagawin mo ang quali and quanti. So I have made this kind of research also. And medyo hindi siya madali, no? Kasi marami kang kukunin na data. Mag-i-interview ka pa and then magsa-survey ka pa or mag-experiment ka pa. Okay? Now, I'll give you a picture of this para alam nyo din kung anong gagawin nyo sa concept paper ninyo. If you decide to make a qualitative research, ano ba ang ginagawa dito? Ano ba yung qualitative research? Nasabi ko na kanina na it is data-free, meaning walang numerical data na mako-collect here. Okay? And the data here are from non-probability samples. I don't know if you're done with your statistics, but in statistics, when you say non-probability samples, we are not giving equal chances to all members of the population to be selected and included in your study. Example, I want to interview the medical technologist here in General Santos City. That's your population, mga medtech sa Gensan. Pero pag nagkanda ka kasi ng non-probability sampling, mamimili ka lang. Gusto ko siya interviewin kasi andito na siya. Gusto ko siya interviewin kasi kakilala ko siya. Meaning, namimili ka ng sarili mong participants or respondents. Hindi mo nabibigyan lahat ng medtech sa Gensan ng chance na mapili din sila. Ikaw na kasi yung namili. Depende na kung anong criteria yung gagamitin mo sa pagpili. And at the same time, for qualitative methods, we do not seek generalization, especially if it is about experiences and like example, history. Kasi example, experience niya kasi yon. Her experience may not be the same with the other person. Kahit na nagtatrabaho sila sa isang lugar. Okay? And the same yung trabaho nila. Pwedeng hindi magkapareho ang kanilang experience. O kaya sa history, no? When we go back sa history natin, if you're going to interview someone, yung na-experience ng isa may not be true sa na-experience sa isa. But, pareho silang nangyari. So, pareho silang truth class kung i-interviewin natin sila. So, yan lang yung qualitative method. We do not seek generalization. Hindi tayo gumagawa ng conclusion or inferences sa characteristic ng population. Hindi tayo makakapag-generalize talaga. Pero this is still accepted. Okay? Accepted pa rin ito. So what are the special kinds of researches that you may do if you opt to make a qualitative research? Pwede kayong gumawa ng ethnographic study. Meron tayong teacher sa school na gumawa nito na ethnographic study. Pumunta talaga siya sa bukid-bukid na part sa Sarangani and she lived with them, with the tribal people there. Kasi ethnographic means mag-o-observe ka ng traditions and customs ng isang grupo ng group of people. Okay? Pwedeng ethnic group, pwedeng ang isang organization, mag-observe ka ng tradition ng mga students sa Jensen doctors. So, ganun. And then, you try to observe and interview them kung ano yung mga traditions and customs nila. Example, tradition nila sa pag-diagnose ng sakit or example, paggamot ng ubo. Paano ba sila nanggagamot ng ubo? So, mag-observe ka doon or mag-interview ka sa kanila. So, syempre, walang numerical data doon. Kaya mahuhulog siya sa qualitative research. Okay? Now, when you say phenomenological research, ito yung experiences. So, if you want to know the experiences of people over a certain situation, then that will be under here, phenomenological. Hindi mo din yan ma-quantify. Okay? Appreciative inquiry also, like you will interview people. Example, in GSD, MSFI, anong maganda dito sa doctors? Okay? Appreciative man. So, most likely, that will be the good things here sa isang organization. And then, historical researches, we are going to the past. Example, history sa Philippines. If we want to know the history, we can interview people na merong first-hand experience sa situation na yan. Okay? Pero again, we cannot quantify history. Therefore, numerical data lang ang meron dito. And we cannot generalize. Kasi ang na-experience ng isa ay pwedeng hindi na-experience ng other people. Pero parehas silang nangyari. So, pwede natin isulat sa ating historical research. Okay? So, ganito ha, kung you opt to make a qualitative research. Now, the last one, we are going to end here this morning, the quantitative research. So, from the name itself, quantitative. These are not data-free, meaning meron tayo class numerical data here. And how do we choose our sample? We use all types of sampling techniques, pwedeng probability, usually probability, meaning we are giving equal chance to the members of the population na mapili sa study natin. Pero, non-probability is still accepted. Yung ikaw talaga yung mamimili kung sino yung bibigyan mo ng questionnaire, or pwede ding mag-fishbowl method ka. Pag mag-fishbowl method ka, that will fall under probability. Kasi nabibigyan natin ng chance lahat ng members ng population to be selected in the study. Now, sa quantitative class, we are actually aiming for generalization. And we are inferring the characteristic of the population. Ibig sabihin yan. Kagaya nung study kanina, fear-mongering and medical fake news and fear-mongering sa COVID-19, the impact on vaccine confidence among millennials. Mag-generalize tayo actually at the end of the study. Magsasabi tayo kung ang mga millennials ba naniniwala or hindi naniniwala sa fake news. Makakapag-generalize tayo after the end of the study based on the numbers na nakuha natin sa questionnaire. And then makakapag-generalize tayo kung mataas ba yung confidence nila sa vaccine or hindi. Meaning magkakaroon tayo ng description of the population at the end of the study. So what are the examples of quantitative research designs? We have the descriptive methods. From the name itself, descriptive, we are just describing the population. Okay? So, numerical values pa rin dito, we can use the questionnaire. Pero, syempre, non-experimental. Pag mag-experiment tayo, syempre dito tayo mag-fall sa experimental methods. So, ito yung mga pwede niyong pagpilian as you make your concept paper. Okay? Questions about this? Buhi pa mo din ha? Or murag naluya na mo first day pa lang sa ato ang classes sa research. Naluya na sa kadaghan.